Launched in 2013, IngramSpark is the self-publishing sister company of Lightning Source, with both companies functioning underneath a subsidiary of Ingram Industries called Ingram Content Group. But nearly 10 years later, the platform has gone through some serious changes, some good, some not so good. And it's left many people scratching their heads wondering if IngramSpark is a viable option in 2022. And also, is IngramSpark hiding something? Not too long ago, there was a big fiasco happening through Audible, more importantly through ACX, that was called the Audible Gate fiasco. It taught us one thing, that you should question everything when it comes to some of these platforms and how they distribute. Essentially what ended up happening was they were dipping into author accounts and pulling refunds out, and they weren't tracking those things, and they were caught red-handed doing something like that when they had actually put people into the negative. People were owing money to ACX at one point. It was absolutely absurd. Believe it or not, that was actually a normal thing. Why did we ignore the problem in the first place? They were still dipping in and pulling refunds out and not tracking those things with us. Was it just normalized so no one gave it a second thought? That's what leads us to IngramSpark today, because there are some concerning issues when it comes to IngramSpark. I'm not trying to speak disparagingly of IngramSpark. You're going to stick around to the very end and find out. This is going to be a very balanced view of how I see IngramSpark and how they could definitely improve. First of all, what is IngramSpark? In their words, IngramSpark is connected to the ordering systems of 40,000 independent and bookstores, libraries, and online retailers worldwide, including Apple, Kobo, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Bertram's, Waterstones, Booktopia, and beyond. Now, first of all, they distribute ebooks and print books. There is no audiobook distribution, and they make no qualms about it that they will not be messing with audiobooks in the near future. Ingram Content Group manages the distribution for IngramSpark, much like they do for Lightning Source, who also fulfills expanded distribution for Amazon KDP. I promise this will all make sense by the end of this video. So I've got 6 areas of concern when it comes to IngramSpark. Let's start it out with number 1, the lack of transparency. Now, the reports don't show from where a book is sold. This is the part that's just absolutely frustrating. They just tell you,
You had a sale.
well, where was it?
Sorry, it's privacy reasons. We can't tell you.
What? What do you mean you can't tell me? And also this royalty structure that they have put in place is just, it's a big head scratcher to me. And, you know, if we can't track down where the sales are coming from, how do we know where to put our marketing efforts at the most? I would really like to see an exact list of distributors, yet they consider it a privacy issue. If my books are going through these avenues, isn't that also my privacy concern as well? What if I don't want to have that specific distributor stock my book? Something to think about. Number 2, lack of distribution control. When you're publishing ebooks through IngramSpark, you can deselect Amazon distribution. That's it. Your ebooks essentially go out to everything else. So it's an all or nothing type thing. And speaking of all or nothing, when it comes to print books, it truly is all or nothing. You can't deselect any one of those avenues, even if, for instance, you don't want to have your print book distributed to one store. Let's say you don't want to go into Barnes & Noble, or you don't want to go to Amazon. Nah, they won't accept that. You either go all in or you go all out. So what if you don't want to stock with a specific retailer or brick and mortar store? Well, IngramSpark pretty much just says, too bad. Now, they didn't literally say that, but that's kind of the implications here, right? Number 3, refunds policy. They actually encourage you turning on a refund policy. They actually ask you to enable your returns for print books, because brick and mortar stores, physical bookstores, if you hear me say that from this point on, really like the ability to send a book back if it doesn't prove its merit. In other words, be sold on the shelf, because there's nothing worse than them having to take a gamble on a book and it just collects dust, and then they have to put it into the bargain bin, and then they're left out without money. Now, I understand that having refunds is a smart thing to do, but there needs to probably be some limitations. There's no real safety measures in place. In fact, not too long ago, I had a conversation with an author over in the UK, Marissa Noel. We had this talk through her Twitter feed, and apparently she ended up getting double billed on returned books. Yes, they got it corrected eventually, but what they ended up charging her initially was 2 times for 182 copies for 182 returns, and it was a $5,000 $50,000 bill she was going to have to cover. When is a distributor flagged for improper ordering protocol? If a brick and mortar distributor orders 182 copies to their store and returns it, I think something's awful fishy here. I don't think that should be something that should be put in place. I think there should be limits, and also I should have the ability to say, hey, I'll take refunds up to this much per transaction or per sale of a brick and mortar store. So if a brick and mortar store buys 10 copies of my book, I'll say,
Hey, cool, great, I'll go ahead and refund that.
if they buy 182 copies,
No, dude, you get to keep all 182 copies.
Number 4, wholesale discounts. Now this is the part I said is just like an algebra equation to me. It's 35% minimum wholesale is what they're gonna do. So that means that you're able to get right about roughly 65% minus print fees for your total royalties per sale. Now they also encourage though 55%. So that way you can get in brick and mortar stores. So in addition to enabling refunds, you are also having to deeply discount your book to get in brick and mortar stores. Does the store get that full discount? So meaning we hear them telling us to go to brick and mortar store, we have to enable 55% or greater for the wholesale discount. But does that mean that entire 20% that is from 35%, that whole change, is that really going to the store? Not really. It depends on the deal worked between Ingram and the store, and obviously for privacy reasons, they have to kind of keep it between them, and I totally understand, I'm okay with that. But sometimes these stores are seeing anywhere from 5 to 10% discount when they're ordering your books. Where did the 20% go? Wasn't Ingram already collecting a percentage? Why do we have to discount something and then you take an additional amount beyond that? That doesn't make sense to me. Number 5, poor customer service. Between late responses, canned responses, and sometimes no responses whatsoever, leaves a lot of people really angry, and they come to YouTube videos and blog posts and social media and take it out on me. Come on, IngramSpark. Get my back on this one. Let's man up on that customer support area. Number 6, outdated user interface. In 2020, they actually did a system update. I gotta give them credit. It looked a little bit better, but it created a lot of havoc. Now, this has been 2 years ago, but there was tons of complaints about IngramSpark being a scam, and go figure, at the same time, Lulu had migrated their platform to another website at some point or another. So while Lulu, a self-publishing company, was migrating, IngramSpark was changing at the same time. So there was a lot of just anger in the self-publishing community, and some that I really couldn't explain other than they were trying their best. Now, when it comes to that user interface, I gotta talk about the reports feature. You shouldn't need to email yourself reports. I have numerous accounts through self-publishing, and it's just absolutely astounding that IngramSpark is the only one. If you want real-time reports inside your dashboard, you've got to order it through email. Okay, what? Why can't I have a dashboard right in here? Especially if we think about this next thing. It costs $49 to upload any print book or ebook and $25 to update those specific books. Now you would think that would go to build and support new infrastructure, such as better customer support or something that can be able to handle a reports dashboard. And oh gosh, the other thing that I just run into, talking about infrastructure, there have been issues, upload errors, and I've had clients and even myself, when we're trying to upload a document that normally has worked in IngramSpark, it doesn't. And when you reach out to customer support, they pretty much say,
Well, I'll read X, Y, and Z.
and then when I try to explain to them that this had passed before, what happened now, they were just like,
Read this article.
fantastic, thanks for the help. So is IngramSpark worth it? To me, IngramSpark is the best distributor with the widest reach. Yes, they're worth it, but could be better for authors and self-publishers if they publicly address and fix all the issues that I mentioned, even just some of the issues. Not to mention, You look, they're fully endorsed by a company like the Alliance of Independent Authors. They're also a partner of Ally with an excellent rating. You can actually get your IngramSpark fees waived 5 times per month if you're a member of the Alliance of Independent Authors. Go over to daylinks.com/ally if you want to become a member. If not, you can just ignore me. Now, is IngramSpark worth it to some people? Probably not. If you want direct control on distribution and a platform with full transparency, then IngramSpark might not be for you. But I would just recommend you try it out and voice your concerns. You could share this video, make your own video, send an email in there, just imploring them to be more transparent, to give more to the author community, like a better dashboard. Now you're probably asking yourself, what's the next best step? What I would recommend is take a look at my in-depth look at the Kindle Direct Publishing platform over in this very next video. I will see you there.